His attire of formality matches little with a military map before him. Mucho's inspection of the 38th parallel was followed by Randall, the U.S. Air Force commander, and Royal, the U.S. Army general who had flown to South Korea in turn. With a northward invasion plan completed by 1949, the U.S. forced the South Korean army to provoke the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Ceaseless armed conflicts on Mounts Songak, Guksa, Gosan, and other places along the 38th parallel were a war indeed. In June 1950, Johnson, Secretary of Defense, and Bradley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, came to Tokyo to see MacArthur. Next day, there was a parade of the U.S. Far East forces in the square in front of the Imperial Palace in Tokyo, in which 30,000 strong infantry and mechanized units took part. It was a final verification of war preparation, a prelude of the impending new war. In the meantime, John Foster Dulles, the State Department advisor, came to South Korea as presidential envoy. Taking along the U.S. military advisors and South Korean National Defense Minister Shin Sung-mo and other high-ranking officers, he went to the 38th parallel for inspection. He who once called Korea a dagger to cut the Asian continent is now looking at the north with covetous eyes. Bustling about the 38th parallel to fulfill his mission as presidential envoy, he confirmed that the north had an army deployment for defense while the south a deployment for attack. Giving the final ratification to the operation plan, he flew to Tokyo and met MacArthur. On June 22, 1950, he organized a quadripartite talk in the MacArthur headquarters, along with Defense Secretary Johnson and the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Bradley, where they agreed to start the war on June 25th. Warplanes were taken out of hangars in South Korea and Japan to be unwrapped. The GIs are waiting for the order. Johnson says, "When moving to the Korean front, the officers told us to leave all the things and take some simple belongings only. They said we'd be back in a month or two at the longest." According to the instructions of the United States, South Korea as a whole was placed in emergency state, with the army put on alert along the front line. Preparation for war was not a business for the army alone. Americans in South Korea were secretly evacuated to Japan by a Norwegian boat, Ryan Ford, just a few hours before the war started. The United States calculated on when to start the war too. Robert, chief of the American Military Advisory Group in Korea, explains, "We have chosen the 25th, and this explains our prudence. It is Sunday. It's the Sabbath for both the United States and South Korea, Christian states. No one will believe we have started a war on Sunday. In short, it is to make people believe that we are not the first to open the war. June the 24th, Saturday, was an ordinary peaceful day for North Koreans. The children were given up to pleasure and entertainment. That evening, in the office club in Seoul, there was held a deceptive dancing party, frontline officers all absent. When the dissemblers were dancing in a peace mask, working people in the north were enjoying their evenings after a day's fruitful labor. The red glow in the sky seemed to bless them. On June 25th, the United States and the South Korean Army ignited a war against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. With their temporary advantage, they advanced 2 kilometers into the north. The U.S. bombers shelled the towns and villages in the north indiscriminately. The barbarous invasion of the U.S. reduced urban and rural areas to debris and imposed untold sufferings to the Korean people. The heroic Korean People's Army thwarted a surprise attack of the enemy and went over to counteroffensive immediately to give a telling blow to them along the whole fire line. The United States mobilized 2 million strong forces and a tremendous amount of ammunition to the Korean War, only to meet bitter defeats and experience the total collapse of the myth about its omnipotence. Just look at the poor aggressors, all crushed by the Korean people's decisive blow. The almighty United States is now going to heavens, lying in the coffin. Defeated in the Korean War, the United States had to sign the Armistice Agreement. The heroic Korean people who won a great victory in the 3-year-long severe Fatherland Liberation War held a victor's parade in Pyongyang. The ever-victorious history and glorious traditions are now inherited with credit by the unrivaled Korean People's Army. If the US imperialists forget their defeat in the last war and unleash another war in Korea, the Korean People's Army will deal a more deadly defeat to them than that they suffered in 1950s. The trespassers on the Korean territory, sky and sea will never be able to avoid death wherever they may be. Retaliation for retaliation, tougher to the tough. This is the unchangeable metal and rock-firm will of the Korean people. The Korean people, armed with the invincible weapon of Sungun Banner under the leadership of brilliant General Kim Jong-il, will smash the hostile maneuvers of the United States and win final victory in their war against the United States.